We're in the kitchen cooking. Okay, live. Stuff's going. What's up? This is a new thing going live. The intention with this, candidly, is to continue practicing a commitment that I made to myself around posting and creating content consistently, particularly on YouTube. Instagram will be another platform, but with the intention and with the purpose to be able to continue spreading and sharing a message, to create impactful and meaningful resources, breathworks, meditations, movements, information that will help and support healing, dropping stress, feeling really fucking good in our bodies because we are inundated with so much shit in our lives that is weighing us down. Politics, news, world affairs, social media, even so many things vying for our time and our attention that are eating away at our capacity in everyday life. And part of my commitment was to show up consistently, because one thing for myself that I've found is that perfectionism and wanting to get things right and wanting to do it right and wanting it to be perfect is what has kept me notoriously in the past from taking action and putting something out there, because the performance-driven / validation-seeking version of me wants to create something and for it to go viral and to blow up and it lead to a bunch of dollars and all of that, when I know that the most important thing is to create something that is meaningful, that is from the heart, that is truly made with the intention to serve, and knowing that the natural byproduct of that is the type of impact and income and everything else that I would want to cultivate in my life. Well, with this week, this is just going to be a casual riffing of what's been going on in my life, what I've been learning as it relates to health, healing, transformation, this imperfect, nonlinear journey to life. I've been since August, I guess really since July, August, I had this idea of starting to build out a channel, start sharing this content. And when I was going to create the first video, which is pinned on the channel, my name is Wolf and my mission is, it was about me coming out for the first time and boldly stating directly, like, this is what I stand for. I stand for being the space where people feel safe and can give themselves the permission to be the fullness of who they are, to create a life that is true and authentic to who we are. And sometimes that stuff gets lost because we're always trying to keep up with what we think our friends, family, society, parents, whomever in our life. There's some voice that's floating around in our head saying, well, you're not good enough unless XYZ. You have to be a certain way, you have to act a certain way, you have to sex a certain way, talk a certain way, wear a certain way, have a certain job, drive a certain car. Otherwise, you're not enough. Or at least it can feel that way. We internalize it as such. And so I was trying to create this video for fucking like a month. Perfectionism got the best of me. I reshot it countless times. I spent multiple days worth of time trying to get audio right and sound right and video right and laptop crashing. It was a brand new laptop I had just bought and nothing seemed to be going right. And so eventually I got to the place where I decided that I was just going to record a one take, because I was trying to edit it and make it look nice and clean and make sure that you follow a certain rhythm so that way people want to stick around. And how can I want to take a stand and create something that is designed to help people feel at ease, to feel like they can feel peaceful, to feel like they can have and be fun and playful, and simultaneously the process that I'm taking to create that feels like shit. I feel like shit. That is asinine and makes no sense whatsoever. So I did the one take, and that video ended up being released. And now here we are in November, October, late October, and we have been doing roughly 2 main videos a week and 5 to 10-ish shorts per week, because consistency is the name of the game right now. As much as I mentioned earlier, the ego part of me wants to be able to see the immediate results of like so many people are following and views and subscribers and everything else, all the vanity metrics. One of the things that's become clear to me is at first no one's listening. And this is an opportunity for me to be able to practice my craft, to allow myself to lead with my passion, to refine my message, because one of the things that I have refused, whether or not I honestly admit it, is to abide by the simplest, most basic, and most repeated form of business advice called niche down. Pick a niche. Speak to one person with a very one specific problem and speak to them in this particular way. And if you pay attention to anything I've ever created on Instagram and now even on YouTube, is I, like every other fucking human being, am multifaceted, multidimensional, have many things that I like to talk and share about, from health and sexuality and healing and life optimization and performance productivity and all of that, to like business and leadership, to movement and acrobatics. Like I'm dynamic just like you. And so the narrowing things down has always been tough. And when it came to creating content, like we have been for, by the way, your notes, I got a hole in this armpit. It's so jankety. I got this at a thrift store and it was like a tiny little like hole, and it's just gotten like ripped and more ripped and more ripped. And I'm going to get into the part of how like I'm currently living in Mexico City, and pretty soon I'm just going to go to another thrift store and get something that doesn't have holes on both sides. It's so funny. But this week in the whole content creation process, the game is consistency, because ultimately the belief is that if I show up consistently over a long enough time horizon, doing my best to consistently generate an authentic frequency, the type of authenticity that is felt in the sense that, you know, when you're around someone and you're just like, damn, I resonate. Like I feel you, and you being you and all of your weirdness or your unique expression. And it's because inherently there's something inside of us that's like, hey, like that's me too. And creating these videos has been beautiful, challenging, having to learn a lot of skills like video editing and, in a sense, like managing team, because I started to bring some people on. We started to bring some people on to support in the process with like editing and stuff like that, because I didn't want to do all that on my own. This week in particular was, as we are on this very, very big life transitional journey, has been kind of stressful and kind of bothersome, because I had intended to release 2 videos this week. One was to be about, or rather in response to a conversation that I'd had with a client of mine a week-ish or so ago, where she has been feeling like super fucking stressed out. She works really hard. Her and her significant other have an agency, they have a business, and they are incredible at what they do. They serve people at a very high level, and that also can come with a lot of pressure. Well, one of the things that was gleaned through that conversation that she came to the realization of was like, damn, like I just haven't been giving myself the permission and the space to be able to just like let out like how fucking stressed I've been, and it led to a big emotional release. And for me, it brought me back to this reminder of like, holy shit, like sometimes we let ourselves get so filled up, and we stop prioritizing ourselves when we get filled up with stress, filled up with anxiety, filled up with, I need to meet all these expectations and pressures, family, friends, jobs, so on and so forth, choking on air. And we forget ourselves in the process. By forget ourselves in the process, I mean in terms of like actually prioritizing ourselves. Saying in the beginning of the day, in the middle of my day, at the end of my day, I'm going to consciously make time, 1, 5, 10, 15 minutes more that is just for me. And that sometimes we do a little bit in the beginning of the day, but then it's like, well, I'm so busy in the middle of the day, I don't have a single minute. It's like, oh, you're full of shit. It's just, you're just not a priority to yourself. And if I'm being dramatic, and maybe there is some truth in it, it's like, you don't love yourself. I don't love myself enough to say, I don't choose myself enough to say, I'm going to make me a priority. I'm going to slow down. I'm going to breathe. I'm going to get my feet on the earth. I'm going to get sunlight in my eyes. I'm going to eat good food, drink good high quality water. I'm going to do something for my body, for my soma, that allows me to feel at ease. And I think that for many of us, we are remembering how to love and care about ourselves. You know, and I do the whole like you're not loving yourself, I'm not loving myself. It's not as like a make wrong. It's just as a matter of fact, like we have to deal with reality. Just like how my client had to deal with the reality that she wasn't taking care of herself, and ultimately come to the realization like, damn, like I had not been loving myself enough to choose me above all the other client work that I'm telling myself that I need to do. That I need to work hard on the weekends, late at nights, need to skip lunch or push back lunch or not go to the gym, like whatever excuse that we have. When in reality, if you were to ever go to those person or people and say, hey, look, like, can we, like, I'm feeling really stressed out. Can we push back that timeline a little bit? Can we adjust the date? Can we bring the intensity of this down? Because I want to be able to deliver at a high level. It really matters to me to be able to show up for you and to love you and support you. And fuck, I'm feeling the weight of all of it. And I don't want to show up this way. It doesn't feel genuine. It's not sustainable. It's not regenerative. It doesn't add to me. It's constantly draining me. And so for someone like my client and for myself, and maybe even for you, sometimes the hardest thing to do is to choose ourselves. But when we have this realization, and when, for instance, it came up in that conversation with her, I realized, okay, like I want to make something in response to this. And so I decided I was going to make 2 videos. One of them would be about talking about how the most selfless thing that we can ever do sometimes is be selfish. Because one cannot cup empty, one cannot pour from an empty cup. It's not possible. And so in the same way, and also more importantly, as a metaphor, is that you can't actually dump from an empty cup, but more importantly is like if you were to imagine it as like pouring into others, pouring your love, pouring your time, pouring your energy, not only can you not pour into others, but when you try to with the little bits of drip drops that you have, over a long enough period of time, it ends up leading to anger, ends up leading to resentment, ends up leading to a lot of unspoken frustrations that end up coming out in other like more mischievous, sinister ways. Jabs and avoidance and distance and coldness and a withdrawal of love, a withdrawal of our energy. And so it's addressing that. It's addressing the importance of recognizing that in some ways we have all fallen victim to this. We've all fallen. We've allowed ourselves to slip into this pattern of behavior that is clearly not supportive, is not conducive to the type of life that we want to live, the type of person that we want to be. And so the second video was then, if the first one, the problem, so to speak, is like we're not prioritizing ourselves, we're feeling empty. The solution is to say like, hey, you need to prioritize yourself. And then the solution to that was to create the second video for self-love, a breathwork on self-love, about pouring into oneself, which if you haven't checked it out and you're listening to this, if you go to, I guess I could put the link in the description. Or if you go to the channel page, you'll actually see it was on one of the latest posted videos, Breathwork for Self-Love. Came out pretty good. I have a funny little backstory about that. It was like a really frustrating process to create that, which brings me full circle back to the original point that I was making at the top of this about the challenge and the updates. But in the process of creating this around self-love and prioritizing oneself, I have been in my own challenges of being consistent with creating these videos, because I'm simultaneously going through a mentorship to learn how to do content creation better, but more importantly about how to be a better storyteller and how to be able to create something that is so deeply impactful, that's so deeply meaningful, that the way that I think about it is like when we do live transformational events, breathwork, ice baths, things like that, when people leave permanently expanded, the way that they see themselves, the way that they feel about themselves, the way they see, view, and interact with the world, the possibilities that they see are available to them, there's this veil that's been removed. There's this eye-opening, energy-opening remembrance of like, holy shit, like I've been tolerating, I've been struggling, I have been allowing these things to be shitty or not, my fuck yes, and I don't want to continue living this way. is how to be able to take that type of experience that we've been able to cultivate in live events and to be able to do it in a video where, unlike this one, which I see that there are a couple of people here. I don't know how the chat function works. If you're out there and you can see me, say something. I'm actually curious if this works. First time. Is how to be able to create a video that is truly transformational. Because if I can create a resource that anyone can access anytime they want, that can genuinely walk them from somewhere to somewhere, that would be really fucking cool. And so that's what a lot of these like breath works and meditations or fascial maneuvers or videos is being designed to do. And it's a skill that, hey, Christy, what's up? See, you can't see that. It works. That's dope. It pops up on screen. Learn something. You learning from me how to build these videos is a tedious process. It's a lot of like tiny, minute adjustments. Thankfully, I have a mentor who's helping me with that. Well, this week, as I was going to create these videos, I made a big oopsie because I'm learning how to video edit, and I'm learning how to video edit in one of the most complicated of video editors, DaVinci Resolve, for any people who are familiar. And I had gotten through the recording, the audio portion of it, which, very long story short, at this point in the game, like I'm starting to work on this. I've already put like well over 10 hours, maybe even closer to 14 hours worth of time, because so much of my technology has been fucking frustrating. It has been anger inducing. There's still more to figure out there. It's very frustrating. I, in an attempt to fix some of these errors, accidentally wiped my computer in a way that I didn't realize that I was wiping it, and along with it wiped out every single video file for the 20-ish something videos and all the different shorts and things that I created up until this point. I lost a whole bunch of data information. I also deleted a lot of the important resources that were pertaining to this self-love breathwork. Long story short, I went through yet another 6 to 8 plus hours trying to recuperate and couldn't. Was able to find a solution in terms of like not making that mistake again, but had to re-record and everything. And so by the time I had like finished this breath work, which was a true labor of love for self-love, I was just like, holy shit, like once again, I am reminded that like I want to be able to create something that's dope, that's truly impactful, and doesn't come at my own expense, which there's just things I need to clean up about that. And so this process was so labor intensive for me that the idea of creating yet another video and trying to try and implement these things that I was learning about how to make these better felt burdensome. And I want to be able, this is such a difficult thing to model, because I can't say that it's a pathway for success, because it's a pathway I'm currently walking. In some sense of a success because I'm showing up, but like, you know, there are people who are doing it big. They have tens of thousands of followers and community and dollars and everything, and I'm really starting this from scratch. And so I don't have the, like, I'm learning from people who've done it bigger and better than me, and there's so many things that I like struggle with, because in this case, I don't want to go and create this video because I'd be doing it to check a box rather than doing it as a function of an expression. And I don't want to create as a function of checking a box. I want to create as a function of expression. I want that energy to be felt and it's coming through me, and that just because right now we're interacting through a screen, you might be watching or listening to this, like I want you to be able to feel me coming through and to feel like the resonance to whatever degree feels consensual for you. But like to feel like the energy of the creation coming through, so that way that love is being made. It's like when you eat food, if someone made it with like hate and anger, and that changes the quality and the texture and the taste and the energetic composition of the food. Whereas when someone makes it with love, your mother, your grandmother, friends, someone that like really made you a meal with love, like you can feel and taste the difference. And you can feel and taste it even if you weren't there. You ever with a friend, lover, significant other who's just like had a tough day and they made food and it's like everything's burned, doesn't taste right. Like I've had that experience many times. Like I've done it. I've burned shakes. I was just like rushing and not being present. It's the presence, the energy of presence that makes things so delicious, both literally and metaphorically. And so eventually this approaching it's Friday now at the time of this, and usually I try to release the videos on Monday and Thursday and be already working on the ones for next week. I wasn't going to post another one, but then I decided, you know what, I'm just going to do this live because I love riffing. I love going off script. I love being able to generate from within. And if I had it my way, it's all I would do. I would generate this way and find a way to be able to then have someone like make it and morph it into something that makes it sensible for the people who need it to be expressed in a specific way in order for them to hear it. Because being able to like hear something is different than being able to receive something. I can hear someone say it's important to eat a healthy diet, but it's another thing for me to receive the importance of eating a healthy diet is that it adds an energetic quality and tone and composition to the body in such a way that literally structures and restructures the composition of the body all the way down to a cellular level and beyond, ways in which we can possibly fathom and measure with science. Val is your pal. What's up, Val? I love the emojis. That's fun. Composition, energetic composition quality matters. And so for me, this feels like a natural expression. This feels effortless. Whereas with the things that are like very like touched up and produced, it is sub-val. It doesn't feel as fluid, and I want it to feel the way that I want to feel. I want it to come through me because I think that when it does come through that way, then you feel it, and then now there's this reciprocal exchange of energy. Now we're both getting lit up and inspired by each other. Now, of course, in this format, I don't want to get exactly like see you other than like the comments, which is like fun. It's like, oh look, there's we're interacting, how fun. But like in a live event or in even a Zoom call and things like that, like there's that feedback loop. So ultimately, the point is in all this to come back to the original beginning of like the importance of finding a way to be consistent, because like harmonizing of masculine and feminine energies, not male and female, masculine and feminine, between, let's just say like the giving, directing masculine energy versus like the receiving feminine, softer or softening type energy, is that we're in a constant, or rather I would say in harmony, we are in a constant ebb and flow of these energies. But sometimes we get too stuck in our feminine. And I think that the extreme expression of feminine, in a sense, is lethargic, depressive, and slow moving. Think of it like really, really, really cold. Whereas like the hyper expression of like masculine is like stress and anxiety and worked upness and tension. And it can actually be related to the nervous system in this way as well, because as science defines it, we have sympathetic and parasympathetic. Sympathetic being your fight, flight, freeze, so on and so forth. Stopping to say hello, gotta get back to work. Hey, what up, Logan? Love you, man. For those of you who don't know, Logan's my brother. Peace out, man. Masculine, this go and do and freneticness, overly done, overly in the masculine, which is something I'm very familiar with, is like the go, 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 do. I think that that's like, when you hear like hustle and grind culture, like the like work 80 hours a week and go until your face falls off, like that type of shit, hyper masculine energies. It can be male or female. Whereas hyperfeminine is just like do nothing and just like whatever. It's like everything will just like land in your lap. You do literally nothing, just like starfish with life. But then you end up just, and like that's no fun either. Like it's a co-creation. Working with the divine, with God, Spirit, universe is a co-creation. It requires a harmonizing of, as I like to say, flow is the space between intention, let's say masculine, the idea, the vision, putting energy into it, and surrender, which is like the flow, fluid, feminine, the allowing to come through. And so whenever we fall out of harmony in these, we can feel that. This is like the residue is anxiety on one side and like stress, and then the other side is like lethargy, tiredness. And I think that there are normal cycles, by the way, of being sad or depressed or angry or frustrated. Like it's part of being a human, a biological, not a logical, but a biological being, is that we have emotions, energy and motion, as Dr. Joe Dispenza says. And it's being able to learn how to channel these emotions in such a way that they become an expression of our creative force. So, for instance, a lot of like really important music, yes, ones and zeros. You know, I actually never thought about it that way. It makes me think of The Matrix. The learning how to ebb and flow is this kind of like mastery process of figuring out like, where am I at? Am I in the hyper masculine, which you can also tell typically by breathing? So like if one side of your nostril and you're breathing, like if my left side is blocked, it's correlating with the right hemisphere of my brain. The right hemisphere of my brain is effeminate. Maybe I'm feeling a block in some way in my feminine, whereas struggling to breathe into the right side connected to the left hemisphere of the brain, maybe feeling stuck in my masculine. Learning where we're at in the parasympathetic, sympathetic, the masculine and feminine allows us to then know where to show up for ourselves, how to support ourselves, how to love ourselves, what to give ourselves, because sometimes an ice bath is a really great thing to do for health and well-being. But then there are some times when it's not, because if I think about like ice baths, what it's doing is it's creating a temporary significant hormetic stress response, so very sympathetic, but then it leads to a significant increase in dopamine, norepinephrine, and it can actually lead to also these like relaxing and calm states. But if, for instance, I'm a woman and I'm on my moon and there is a particular flow of heat in the body to throw a significant words a significant stress or shock to the system like that, it can actually mess with the natural harmony of a female cycle. And so timing is everything, and learning how to tune into our bodies and to slow down and to receive. So leaning to that feminine, like receive the information, but then to go and do something about it is how we're then able to transmute that and make more intuitive, body somatic led decisions. And so tying this all back to this creation of videos, for me, like the hyper masculine was leading to this force and try to get this video done, push, 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 stress, 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 or was just like, nah, whatever, nothing. But then when I was able to like, jellyfish, oh, I'm falling, come back and ask a different question called, how can I make this work for me? It was, oh, I can just hop on and do this because right now I'm riffing and I'm flowing and like we got some comments going back and forth. Like I'm having fun, It's like, two of us, you two plus me. It's like, I'm having fun. So now I'm being that expression. And you know what? Maybe like no one ever sees this besides you too. My hope is that at least one thing of what I'm saying is resonating for you in such a way that it allows you to feel more equipped in whatever the next step is that you're taking in your life, whatever that important thing is that you're working on. Tendency to ignore our gut feeling happens when we operate in fear. Totally, 100%. Because what does fear do? Fear closes vision. Fear activates sympathetic nervous system. Fear zooms everything in, and the only thing that we can see is like that narrow-mindedness. You're totally spot on. And it's why it's so important that we learn how to be able to identify where we are, to regulate ourselves, self-regulate, support, love in the ways that we need it. And so to start to wrap this all up, because I can't believe it's already been like close to 30 minutes, but maybe wrap this up, maybe not. There's a part of me that's like, we've been going long, we should just cut it off because what's the point? No one's gonna watch. See, like those are the thoughts that want to come up, and addressing them real time helps to then figure out where do I want to go from here. And I think that the kind of tying this to like the original intention of this was actually just to share like a life update, because so much of the material is like, do this breath work to feel love, do this fascial maneuver practice to decrease stress in the body and to like release stress and tension in the body, watch this video in order to let go of perfectionism, is to also be able to show a real and raw behind the scenes of this journey, because life's not polished. Being human is not a polished existence. And personally for me, like I would much rather go with unpolished, real rawness, like very like ancestral, very, very rooted as we move further and further into our AI era. I read Dr. Joe Dispenza's book back in 2019, changed my life. Thank you for your time given here in the online community. Well, thank you. That means a lot to me. Seriously, it does. And I also love his stuff. And I also think that it was around that time when I first started listening to and reading his stuff, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, You Are the Placebo a little bit, and then like Becoming Supernatural. Incredible, incredible work. For me, I am, and my significant other, Christy, who also might even be here on this live, are in this really interesting, pivotal next step of our lives, because crazy, wild journey of being here in Mexico City. Or actually, before let me pause that and pocket it to bring this full circle, make sure that I really close that out with the piece about where we started and the stress and the journey and the self-love. I guess if I was going to boil it down to one thing and to bring it all together is to say, like, it's really important that we continue to ask ourselves in the name of consistency, because I do believe consistency is important. So let's just say like consistency is like a masculine energy. It's like, how do we harmonize consistency with fluidity? Like how do we bring both of those in? How do we bring in consistency and also compassion, perhaps? Right? Like the gentleness and ease and to be able to be consistent in our lives, whether it's in our health, whether it's in our wealth and money, whether it's in our relationships, is to find little ways to continue to show up that feel authentic because sometimes we do just need to disconnect and pull away and take care of ourselves. It's totally important. And then sometimes we have to be deeply engaged and deeply immersed in whatever it is that we're doing. We need both, right? We need to zoom in, we need to zoom out. And typically, at least for me, like I like to find the harmony in between of like not being too zoomed in, not being too zoomed out, going in and out when I need to. And it's finding ways to show up that work. And so for me, it was this. This is the way that I got to choose to show up. And even if it doesn't lead to what my ego mind wants to say is the most important thing, which my ego mind says like, oh, like someone go and join in the community or like bunches of views or like dollars. It's like, let me let go of that and actually just create something for the sake of creating, and knowing that, showing up this way, believing that at the very least that it will be supportive and it will be valuable. And so how this ties into the next piece around, okay, we're in Mexico City in this YouTube journey, this, I say YouTube, it's really like content creation, community creation journey with the Remembrance Dojo, which, if you don't know, the Remembrance Dojo is a community that we have developed that is designed to support in helping us to remember who we are and who we came here to be. And not that I have the answers, but I think that the answers already exist inside of you, they exist inside of me, and that is through relating, it is through healing, it's through processing trauma and grief and sadness, it's through breathing and eating and everything. We remember more and more. Like it's part of my belief at this point in time. It's like we came down to this earth and we had an intention, we had a mission, we had a purpose, we had something that was within us. And over time, there are these layers of forgetfulness that get piled on within culturization, socialization, and schools and parents and families and everything else. Not for right or wrong, it just happens. And part of our journey is to, it's not so much about learning, it's about unlearning and unwinding and forgetting things that are not actually truly in service to our highest expression through us. And for me and for us, back in March, April, out of nowhere, house I was living in, poof, disappeared. Crazy turn of events. I talk about this story more in detail in the My Name is Wolf and My Mission is, which is pinned in the YouTube channel, is we had this incredible opportunity to go and stay and work with an aligned wellness organization in Cancun. And we spent the next 3 months, like we literally went from like, I live in the United States, I've always wanted to live nomadically, I don't have the money or the means to be able to do this, to like, we are living in Mexico, we are traveling all around the Yucatan Peninsula, we are meeting Mayan elders, we're going to Bacalar and Merida and eating incredible food and going to pyramids and meeting so many incredible people, having all these divine synchronicities, things that it's like something out of a movie, but it's our lives. It's your life. So we kept playing this game. And then when we got to the end of that stint, we were offered the opportunity to go and, thank you, Val. Yes, it's been crazy. It has been an absolute wild, beautiful journey. And I think that it's like available to all of us in the sense that all of us have the opportunity to create something like really fucking dope that is like so like incredibly aligned with the vision that we are birthing into this life. And we took a courageous leap. And the next step for us became an opportunity to come and stay with my aunt here in Mexico City, which is where we are now. And this led us to the, let's just say, the next part of the hero's journey, the next hump, if you will, which is coming to the realization that we came here and we stayed longer than we were meant to. You are right. The journey is more important than the destination. These are true facts. These are things that it's like you see these in like coffee mugs and like beautiful like you have all the beautiful quotes right there. Is we had gotten comfortable and stayed here longer than we were meant to. And when I say meant to, it's when you recognize that moment that you are in a place longer than you were meant to be, is when your energy, your creativity, your everything starts to turn down. And it's not always the most present, or we're not aware. But then when you leave your normal everyday environment, you travel somewhere new, you make a new friend, you go to some place you've never been before. It's like your head comes up from underneath this like very non-transparent water. And you're like, holy shit, look at all this beautiful stuff that I've been missing out on all this time. This has been here. Holy crap. And yes, it has. But we get comfortable and we get complacent. I got comfortable. I got complacent. And so now, here we are, 3 months-ish later since we started the YouTube channel. And I'm going to say some measurements and things that don't really matter. But I'm going to say them to make a point. 3-ish months later since we've recorded and posted the first video, 20-ish videos later, 20-ish main videos later, 40, 50, 60 something-ish shorts later, tens of thousands of views, hundreds of hours, hundreds of subscribers, close to 10 members, 10 new members in the community, the online community, the Remembrance Dojo, and starting to grow this like fun like newsletter thing where I just share like fun stories behind the scenes and stuff like that. And one of the biggest realizations that I am having as we are about to leave Mexico City, as we are going to leave my aunt's place and return to our home, away from home, Florida, where we're from, spend time with family, do New Year's there. We're actually doing a bunch of exciting, fun events, which if you end up seeing this and you are going to be in Florida and you like doing cool transformational shit, breath work, movement, healing, releasing stress and all of that, leave a comment. I'll send you something. I don't know yet. I just made this up on the spot. But we're going to be doing fun stuff, fun events, and we're already planning them out, which is really cool. I'm excited to be back in community because one thing about building an online community is that, at least right now, we have so much to learn. We're not the best at it. We want to be able to have the community be a hub where people from all over the world can get connected and, like we said, heal, grow, and expand, live authentically to who we are. And we're still figuring that formula out. So live events and live experiences have always been the holy grail, if you will. We do those well, and they are a lot of fun. They create transformation, but also create connections, lifelong friends and family, which we love that shit. So, live events, Mexico City, wrapping it up. Where was my train of thought? We are, the views and everything. All those metrics and everything that are coming through, one of the biggest lessons that has come through for me is how much those metrics don't fucking matter. Most of them anyways. And the reason why I say that is because when we first started creating these videos, I was obsessed with looking at the reviews, the watch time, the duration, everything else. And don't get me wrong, I still check those because I want to see like if what I'm learning and what I'm applying is having what we're doing be better, in the sense that like people are receiving it. That's important, feels important at least. But the obsession that I was doing it, which I still have my moments now where it's like the constant checking and like waiting for that moment when it's like, it's gonna hit, something's gonna take off. I have my own unwinding to do around the performance of that and the belief. This is what it is. It's like I'm actively processing this, is the belief that if this thing happens, if this video takes off, then there will be this point where it's like, oh, it leads to the money that it allows us to, versus actually just choosing to believe that us showing up again consistently over a long enough time horizon and being that authentic frequency for what we're creating will eventually, it is inevitable that it will lead to the type of life and business and money and lifestyle and community and everything else that we can imagine, because it has to. It just has to. And it's easy said. It's not always the easiest in practice, and to live it and to remember, because again, it's like cycles of remembering and forgetting. I remember, no, yeah, and it's like forget, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? And then I'm back, and we go through these cycles. And so I know in my highest expression that they don't matter. In some ways, and in some ways they do, but only to the extent at which it really leads to the true measure of a W, a win, which is transformation. It is healing. It is seeing the comment where someone says, I took this, I applied it. I don't feel anxious. I took this and I applied it, and like I feel love for myself. I came to this event and now I have a lifelong friend. I came to this event and I haven't felt peace like this for as long as I can remember. That those are the moments, those are the experiences that matter to me the most. And I don't have the code cracked on how to do that in an online format yet, through a video, through a live. Figuring it out. I think it is kind of happening. Maybe sometimes like my brain's like the frequency, like the number of times needs to be higher for my brain to be like, see, it's working. But just remembering as we go into this next stages, we are in the last week of being here, and we're going to be heading, actually it's like the next 3 or 4 days. In the next 3 or 4 days, we're going to be going into the city part of Mexico City, which is, we're on the outskirts. We're going to be going into the city and we're going to be staying there. And that is a place that is authentic and expressive. And I'm actually very excited to be back there because I'm going to be able to create content in an environment that feels uplifting, it feels inspiring. I have a client that's flying in and we're going to be doing all kinds of fun transformational work. I'm excited about that. Eating good food, Dia de los Muertos. I have to say that slow because I still trip on like saying those things back to back to back. Is happening in about a week. So we're going to experience that. Like there's a lot of cool stuff that's on the horizon. And what I am setting my intention for in this, if this was like the first act, if you will, the next act is a lot of the same: consistency, harmonizing masculine and feminine, and finding a way to have business/money, impact/community, and fun/creativity for me harmonize better. Because if that all works well consistently, dreamscape. People are getting good shit. I'm feeling good about it, and I'm able to make money, and it's going to support my lifestyle. But man, the expansion of what we're having right now around the vision around what's possible, this money is not just going to be for me. Like we're building something, and everyone who wants to be part of it has a hand in it. And so the money game is becoming a bigger game because for the first time in my life, where for the longest time it was money's bad, people have money are bad, avoid money, and that led to me being broke, not being able to take my significant other out on dates, being able to put high quality foods in my body. Like I didn't have the means, and those beliefs that I was feeding, right? You know, Val, because you were talking about Joe Dispenza's work, like all behavior is belief driven. And so if I believe money's bad, people have it or bad, etc., I don't have it. Okay. And then changed that, started learning, and created huge financial transformation in my life, gotten to a better place than I've ever been, made a lot of good decisions. The next level is like, that first one was like, get out of debt. Then it's like, get neutral. And then it's like, get head above water. And now the next phase, it's like, when every single dollar or energetic transaction that comes my way, how does every single one of those, what is that going towards for every single person that is a part of what we're creating? How does it support their dreams, their mission, their healing, their vision, their kids, their families? That's what we're figuring out now. So, Q4, 2025, still got a little bit more to go. I have been riffing for 45 minutes. Somehow you're still here. So that was fun. Net though, there's so much to learn. There's a big opportunity in front of every single one of us to get clear about where we're being complacent, where we are settling, and to say, what is it that I truly want though? Like snap my fingers, shit happens. What is it that I truly want? What am I wanting? What are my biggest obstacles and beliefs to creating that? And what am I willing to sacrifice, to let die? What am I willing to grieve? What am I willing to let burn? And in the burning and the smoldering of the ashes, let it be the place from which we can cultivate something new, build new life. And so, from me to you, let me know what that is. The thing that you're working on in the comments, leave a comment. And if you liked this, whether you're watching it live or you're watching a recording, let me know if you liked it or what things you'd like to hear and see more of. Because like I said, if I'm just a talking head and no one gives a shit, and it's like, well, there's no point. Like it's just me being talking head. Like I can just record this for myself. But like if I can create it in such a way that is fun and free flowing and authentic for me, but also feels like it lands for you, let me know. Thank you so much. I love you. I hope you have a really great day. Peace, love, all the things. And we'll see you later. Peace. Bye bye.